What's going on, my peoples?
What's up with it, my bows?
Hebos! All right, welcome back to the Millennial Man Podcast. We got another episode for you today. I'm Derek Chard, your host. Alongside me is my co-host Bryson Womack. And you know what, Bryson? Let's take it back to when we were single and we were ready to mingle, but it was the wild, wild west back in the day. No Tinder. Let's talk about that.
By the way, I like your jingle. God, yeah. Talk about a weird mix of confidence, self-awareness, and low-key just exhaustion. Not having a screen to sit behind, having to actually get out there and make it happen. Oof.
Let's set the stage, right? So you're hanging out with your guys and you're like, all right, we're single. We want to go find, and that's the thing, we didn't know what we would find. Would we find our wife that night? Would we find a one-night stand that night? Would we find a little relationship that kind of fizzled out? Would we find nothing? But where would we find? What did we do? I know what I'm thinking. Like, all right, we want to go find the female sex. What did we do?
Well, there was always that before the going out, like the pre-night mindset, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
do I look put together, or did I just escape laundry day? Right? Is this casual, or is this casual, but I tried casual? Or do I still remember how to flirt? Am I about to take the lead with a story about interest rates? Or I don't know.
Interest rates. That was never on my mind. I was just like, let's go to the bar.
All right.
Let's go to the watering hole. Let's see if the gazelles are at the watering hole. And we're let's just go down to the watering hole and see what's available. Which I think is different from today. So I'm going to bring it up right now because we didn't go in with resumes. I feel like the new generation, they have resumes. They go on Instagram and they search a girl's Instagram. They go on Tinder. They go on here. They already kind of know what girls are where. Maybe they only go where the girl that they linked and connected with is. We were just like, let's go here and see what happens.
Yeah, I felt like I guess you're talking about swiping, where granted, I guess now you could like read a profile, but at the end of the day, we always started with that, just what do they look like, right?
Well, yeah, instant attraction. Yep.
You know what my swiping was?
What was it?
Taking a lap.
I think I know what you're talking about, but walk me through it.
Taking a lap.
Walk me through the strategy.
Walk in the bar. You find the first open or most available spot. Get your boys to drink. You're kind of scoping it out. And then you get that first drink and you take a lap. And that lap is what we're working with.
You know, I didn't have a name for it, but I did the same thing.
Oh, you got it.
And was there the one guy that did that in the group that was proactively thinking that way? Because if so, I think we were that same guy. We're like, our buddies would just hang and we're like, hey, I'll be right back. And they're like, where are you going? I'm like, don't worry about it. And you did the lap and you came back and you were kind of like, all right, so here's the situation over here. I'm liking what's over here. Like you started to kind of game plan the night.
If we're talking, we're going out and this is not a last minute thing, right? Now there's differences between it's 1 a.m. I'm going out, we're just sprinting into this one. But
well, yeah,
I'm talking about the marathon, right?
Right.
When you run a marathon, you pace yourself.
Yeah.
Part of that is just kind of, all right, let's scope out the talent. So you take that lap. And that lap is the internal, non-technological swiping left and right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That was the swipe. That's how we swiped.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
you know
I think
what? There was also the profile part of it. If you get close enough, you might hear like, what are they talking about? Like, what's their conversation? What's their do I have a crier over here? If I got a cry, ooh, let's avoid that one. Do I hear something over here about they're talking about issues with a boy? Ooh, but if I, just hear laughter and fun and games, then it's like that's a fun profile, right?
or I'll do you one better. We got how you apparently on Tinder you swipe, but then they have to accept. So when you're doing the lap and you're looking, did a female look at you? Did you make eye contact? So you're like, were there women that were also looking? And this brings me back to Wedding Crashers. Have you ever seen the movie Wedding Crashers? Where Vince Vaughn is like,
are they built for comfort or speed?
well, well, Vince Vaughn is like, well, that conservative woman just or I fucked the shit out of me from across the church, right? But when you did the lap, if there was women that they took their gaze away from their group to look at you as you walked by, you were like, yep, okay, they're available, right? Like you didn't even need like the profile tag of like interested, like that was you're like, okay, they're available. Then you walk by another group and no attention was paid, no gaze, no looking. They weren't looking around. You're like, okay, I'm not feeling those. Do you know what I'm saying? Was that
Oh,
a thing?
I'm gonna do you one better.
Oh, you're gonna triple stamp the double stamp?
You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Well, yeah, it's true.
But I'm about to. Yes, there was the look, and the look is the like.
Right.
But when you got the pinch finger on the straw and the bite on the straw, and not only the look, but they looked down at the ground and then back to you. That was the super like.
Did you ever walk by and look back to see if they were still looking?
Yeah, I didn't get many super likes.
You give like a little glance back
I didn't get many super likes.
You catch them following you, no pun intended, but kind of like following you, and you're like, oh, okay, that one's very interested. But yeah, I mean, it was the wild, wild west, and it was so much fun because you had to use social skills.
I was going to say, going out was fun, energy, social interaction, new memories. Because at the end of the day, there was always going to be a story to be told when you went out. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, staying in these days is just like, oh, you got your peace, you're saving your money, you got to wear your freaking pajama pants, and you didn't have to pay for parking fees. Cool, but you didn't have a fucking awesome story to tell the next day.
Well, yeah, we had to go out to meet the people. Yeah. Now you can meet them online and just be like, hey, why don't you come on over and like we'll Netflix and chill, I guess, right? But like we had to go out and hunt and think on our feet. I mean, it's fun, we had to think on our feet. We had to be strategic at times. I loved being strategic, right? Like, how do we approach this situation? How do I start the conversation? What do I say?
It was that.
Do I just bump into her? Do I sit? Do I buy a drink? Do I wait till she goes to the bar? Because I think that's my best opportunity is to buy her a drink. So like you're kind of observing and like, oh, she's going to the bar. I gotta go, guys, right? Because I think that's my best opportunity because maybe she strayed from the pack, right? And so you wanted to catch her when she strayed from the pack because you're like, I can't go approach her when she's with her other 5 friends.
Damn, we are dogs.
Well, no, it's not dog. We were lions.
That's what they do. Yeah, they separate.
No, lions.
Wow.
Lions. Let's be more regal.
Okay.
But it was fun, right? And I think back in the day, we were the initiators, which I think has changed, by the way. But we were the initiators.
Oh yeah,
back in the day.
sparked the conversation, there was no conversation. Where I guess today there's sometimes where uh, the conversation has to be started on the other side. I mean, it was more about or less about impressing and how do I juggle being able to just connect without trying too hard. Whereas now it's just like I'm waiting for someone to just respond.
Yeah. Yeah. And but we were okay with rejection. And I think it built our I think that's what built us being okay with rejection. Right? Like why I think I can do sales now is because I was rejected so many times. I'm like, all right, on to the next. Like
Wait, what is
I'll try
the
again.
is it the law of number
Law of averages,
law
baby.
of averages, baby? There we go. You taught
Hey,
me that one day.
you talk to enough girls, one of them's going to be like, I'll talk to you. you know
But I mean, at the same time, all you got to do is just add a little politeness to that confidence, right? Hold a door, pay attention, be present, listen to understand. Don't just reply. Like,
well, yeah, and we also usually bought a drink, right? I think that's chivalrous in a way. Like, hey, can I buy you a drink? Now I think that's almost taken advantage of in a way.
it's almost, hey, let's go drink for free.
Yeah, right. Yes. And I've had girls that I'm friends with that are even married that are like, "Oh, I can get us some drinks." They're like, "Watch this." And they just walk up to the bar, wink, do whatever, and then a guy's like, "Oh, can I get a drink or can I buy you a drink?" She's like, "Yeah, vodka soda." He's like, "Vodka soda." She's like, "Make it two." And then she brings it back to her husband or her boyfriend. I've seen it happen. But I think that's chivalrous, buying a girl a drink. And, it's not opening the door, but it's buying them a drink.
But you're buying them a drink. You got to start with an icebreaker. I say icebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it what it is. Spade a spade.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pickup line.
Pickup line, yeah, something.
Do you have your go-to?
So, very different situations. Sometimes pickup lines were nonverbal. So, if there was a lot of dancing going on, my pickup line was just kind of I knew I was purposely backing up dancing and and then I just turned around. Now I'm dancing with you. So that was my dancing pickup line. At the bar, it was usually, what are you drinking? Right. Or I'd try to listen to their order and be like, if they ordered like a whiskey, which is how I met my fiance, but if they're like, oh, like a whiskey, and I'm like, you drink whiskey? Oh shit. Okay. Like just kind of listen in for little cues just to start a conversation. If it was a group of girls, it was always like, is this a bachelorette party? Because I know you guys don't want to talk to girls. And so I won't, but I just wanted to congratulate but that wasn't but it depended on the situation, the pickup line, to see how could I enter this barrier that might be there
Yeah,
and be accepted and they allow the conversation to continue.
I hear it. Yeah, I think my approach was always that, test out. Just say like, are you expecting a pickup line, or do you just want me to be awkward? I'm just curious.
Yeah, do something like that.
But it's also just some of them. I'll tell you. I think one of my first ones was the, hey, your last name is Campbell's, right? Campbell's? No, it's not. Oh shit. Sorry, you just look good.
Oh my god.
Campbell soup, baby.
I never did. I don't think I ever did the cheesy pickup
Oh,
lines
it
in
was
public.
fun. Oh my gosh, it was fun.
I I don't think I did. Me,
Like,
I probably did, but I don't remember those in particular. I had another strategy. It was the indifference strategy. So I'd walk up, I just lean in and be like, "Hey, just wanted to say," and I'd pick something. Love your shirt. You're gorgeous, something like that. I would just say it, but then I'd leave. Right? And I just walk away. Or I'd be like, "Oh, I just want to introduce myself. I'm not going to stick around. I'm Derek. Susie. All right, Susie, I'm going to let you be with your friends. I just wanted to introduce myself. have a good night, and I'd leave. And all I was doing is I was planting seeds. Because then, if I knew her name was Susie, I knew later, maybe it's a half hour later, maybe it's an hour later, she'd come around, or I'd pass her again. I'd be like, Susie, there, like, and then, but I played that indifference, like I wasn't pursuing it. That was one of my strategies too.
Well, I mean, you could also just be indifferent and,
Oh, yeah.
leave it with like, hey, just wanted to come over. Seemed really easy to talk to, but hoping we can test that theory.
So, do you think the new generations have these tactics, but they're just on the keyboard? Is it via language? Is it via text? Are there new tactics that we used to do in person, but now there's strategies on the messaging, right? Oh, we matched, right? Swiped. Now they're trying to strategize.
I definitely do think that if we're going to give that credit, emotional intelligence does help with the new age, right?
Right.
But you can be solo.
Right.
When we were going out, if you were solo, that hurt you. It didn't matter how cool you were. Sometimes it took
tough.
You being around a group of good guys. And God, man, I grew up with a bunch of great guys. It made it easy. It was like, gosh, they're having fun. Like, that's who I want to be with. That's who I want to be around. And we just laughed like all the time.
Yeah, you couldn't go solo. Like, I can't imagine just being like, I'm going by myself to a bar looking, right? Because like you said, yeah, you have to, when you have your guys around you, and I think girls are the same way, right? They're not going to go solo. They're going to bring a couple girls. And yeah, let's have fun. Let's show that we're having fun, right? Like, we're a fun time. You want to be a part of this fun time. And then that leads to different things. And that was the social aspect of it. But if you ever went with a group of guys and then they connected, that person connected, and you were still standing there, then that sucked. that was rough.
Sometimes that's just part of it, man.
I
mean, if they're really your beaux, you didn't care.
Yeah.
Gosh, but I'll say at the same time, sometimes it was about setting up your beaux.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I love wing manning.
I mean, not always the agenda, but there were definitely a few times where it was like, let's just be stupid, and creating scenarios and situations where it was specifically, we're about to hype you up.
Yep.
And I'll tell you two.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Give me some examples. Let's have some story time. Let's go.
A quick one is coming out of one of the computer classes in college where we learned how to build a website. Is we built websites for each other that was like, he's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's that. And basically one of the guys would walk up and like, oh, hey, what's up, Dr. B? Like, Dr. B, like, yeah, this and that, have a conversation, and then just say hey for like 20 seconds, talk to him, and walk away. And then all of a sudden, if there was a girl next to him, they start talking. Then Dr. B goes to the restroom, and then that same person comes back over, and the girl that kind of talked to him was like, hey, are you here with Dr. B? How do you know Dr. B? He's like, no, I just met him. I just heard, oh yeah, you should look him up. Like, he's awesome. And then they look up the name and they see the website where we created it, and it's just right there in front of them, and it's just that easy.
That is wild. That's a lot of effort right there.
That is a lot of effort.
Yeah. Now, that's premeditated. That's premeditated dating right there.
when we were dumber though, before the websites, and we did that like twice, and it was all fun and games. We usually just told them to, like, hey, we're fucking with you. We made the website.
Yeah.
But I will say one of the funniest ones, one of my mentors we used to do was big game hunters. And it was mostly to get laughs, but it's like, oh, like, what do you always get asked, what do you do? Like, what do you do for work? Like, touchy subject. I don't really, well, like, all right, well, some people have issues with it, but we try to do good at the same time, I'm like, we're big game hunters. Like, what? Yeah, we're big game hunters. My family's been doing it for generations, but we kill exotic animals, and yes, we do take their skin and take it for us, but we donate all of the meat and the bones to the villages around. So we're actually providing food and tools for the local villages. But yeah, we are killing exotic animals, and like, oh my god, that's so sweet. At the same time, it's like, well, you have money. And
That you're reminding me of, by the way, I've already brought it up, one of my
wedding
favorite
crashers.
wedding crashers, because they would go to these weddings and they'd make up personas and they'd be like, wait, you lost men playing with the Yankees? Yeah, to trades and unruly fans. I don't want to talk
I don't
about
talk
it.
about it. Yeah.
Or holy shirts and pants. Yes, we have a nonprofit that like like creating these stories and going along with them. So it's reminding me of that way too much.
So hearing that, you got to have something in your playbook that was used at some point, or just even if it was for shits and gigs.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a couple things. One that was really fun. And so a guy that was visiting um me at the time, or visiting my city, and I was like, all right, let's take you out. And he was British. And so he didn't know anyone. I didn't really know anyone where we're going, but he was, he's British. He's speaking in his accent. I'm speaking in mine. And we're talking to some girls, and like it just was getting a little stale and this and that. So I'm like, I went over to him. I was like, I think I can speak in a British accent at this point. I had enough drinks. I was like, let's just flip the script and blow their minds. And I think this would be fun. He's like, all right, let's do it. So in the middle of a conversation, we were like, so you probably thought that he was from London, and actually I am. And like, I can't do it now. And then he spoke in an American accent, and this girl was like, what? Oh my God. And so we just had fun, like it was, but that was the social experiment. Like it was just going out and having fun and seeing what was going on. It wasn't
And
pre looking up women in their resumes and only going to see them if you thought you had similar. I don't know. It was fun.
you just reminded me, I played college golf, and we had a guy from England who we did the exact same thing. And hearing him say, I'm from Alabama, I like to drink water, it was just hilarious. That's the memories, right? You don't get
It
that
is.
from sitting on a screen and texting on an app. You had to actually go create that moment. Um, it, Gosh, same. I mean, then there was also when you were belligerently, I don't know, what do we call this, successful, or you go home with someone. But I just have to say this. This is just one
All
of
right.
the most bizarre, funniest things. But I knew a guy that if he had to use the restroom, had to go pee when he was leaving the bar, he wouldn't. He'd hold it. And we'd get back to the house, and it was almost like he would intentionally like leave the door cracked. And there's always the guys like, do you aim at the back of the pisser or the side of the pisser? Or do you just go, oh, he'd go straight middle and just push stream as hard as he could. And I remember one time, like, dude, like, you pee so loud. Like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, I just want to let her know what's coming for me.
But that could backfire. That's hilarious, but that could backfire.
But it's just like,
That could backfire.
That's the funny stories, though. I mean, like, you don't get that on an app.
No.
Total
And
douchebag comment, but it's just funny.
but I feel like some of the newer generations, they could be missing out, right? Like, because if you're connecting with someone, but then you're going through their likes and dislikes, and you're deciding before meeting them whether or not you even want to meet them, you could be missing out, because there are, people have differences, and you could be yin and yang, right? Like, I like hiking, I like golf. Oh, we're not going to connect. No, maybe I golf while you hike. Maybe I get into hiking. Maybe you get into golfing. Maybe we connect on so many other levels. But I thought it was just so much fun to go out. And what's funny? Our generation, I'll throw this out there. There's data right now that like liquor sales, alcohol sales are down. Our generation, we went to the bar. We went out, we drank. That's what we did. And I think in those scenarios too, inhibitions are lowered. You actually weirdly were able to get deep with people, but not in a sensitive, deep way. Like, you revealed things about you, but it was funny and laughed off, or you connected on that when someone was like, oh, this happened to me. And you're like, I can't believe you just said that. And they're like, why? And you're like, that happened to me too.
Well,
it was,
you know
it was
what?
fun.
Oh, another way to put it, there was optimistic interaction. What I mean by that is, I feel like
You were hopeful.
now that you're looking for what is the red flag that I'm going to cut this? Like, what is it that we're not going to connect on? Whereas when you went out to a bar and it was, how can I connect with it? Hey,
Right.
wait, you're from here. Do you know so and so? Like, it was all about how can I bridge a gap
Right.
and just connect. And now it's, wait, do you like, are you MAGA?
Ooh,
Do you are
right.
you this? Are you that? All right, cool. Then we're not compatible. Whereas we've totally gotten away from what we see that's good in the other person, and we're just trying to find what is bad in them, and that's all we focus on.
Yeah, you're looking for the red flags versus looking for the common ground, right? Like, and even
There's
if there
always a
was
red
something, you
flag.
could be like, well, yeah, or differences, right? But you could be like, all right, I can live with that, right? But we connect on this. So let's just focus on that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think if I became completely single right now, well, you know what? I I think I think I'd be fine, but I wouldn't go on the apps, right? But I think if I would go old school, and I think that's fine. I think there's a lot of people out there that are still old school.
Speaking from experience and a recent old school connection, and it's
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
it's so much fun. So much fun. Yeah.
It's like a 90s playlist. Just improved my entire mood.
Well, that's another topic that we're waiting for, because I don't care where you go. You drop some 90s music, you drop some 90s rap, it's over. Everyone loves it. Every
It's
generation,
a little bit.
even the new generations, they know it.
Sure. Do we get to sit there and talk and get to know everything about each other? No, it's a little bit like dial-up internet. Takes a second to process,
Right.
but totally worth the connection.
Yeah, but you it comes out organically, right? It's not like forced. Like, here's my resume. You're forced to get to know someone. You're forced to ask
You
the
have to make more
questions and
effort.
share. Yeah, more effort versus like, here's my resume. Take it or leave it. So I love it. I love it. So hey, we got to wrap this one up. Millennial men out there, hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you're reminiscing a little bit about going down to the watering hole. For you guys that are still at the watering hole, best of luck. For you guys who aren't, you found your person, and congratulations. So we thank you for listening.
Yeah, and hey, boss, listen, dating in your 30s is just two people comparing calendars and childhood trauma, so shoot your shot respectfully and preferably with proper grammar. Don't forget about you, boss.
Peace.